Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 16 updates and spoilers. We have two house guests of the day, Hunter Clark and Steve Hatch. Hunter wants to know, who's my favorite girl to win? Well, if I had gotten to your question sooner, my answer would definitely be Nicole. At this point, I'll go with Victoria. And Steve wants to know, no, Steve doesn't want to know anything because I totally missed his question. It's too late. It was about how they were going to have the returning house guests re-enter the house. And Steve is not a big Frankie fan, so aren't you glad Frankie's gone now? What perfect timing for that. So, Frankie's gone. He was evicted, and Derek won the HOH, as we saw in last night's episode. So, it turns out that he nominated Caleb and Victoria. So, it doesn't really matter. But as I was saying yesterday, Cody and Derek were thinking about nominating each other, should they win HOH, because they want to keep Caleb feeling secure. And I think my head's gone. I'm gonna be really interested in seeing Caleb's reaction to being nominated, because he went into this thinking like he was safe with either Cody or Derek winning HOH. So like I said, it doesn't really matter. It's more of an ego thing. So when the feeds came back last night, we saw that the house guests got a smaller table. That part of the house, that dining area, looks so huge now because they have that little baby table there. But we also find out that Cody won the power of veto, which means that he will be casting the sole vote to evict tonight. That also means Caleb is as good as gone. So, Dadbot Derek is already practicing his final two speech. I think he's probably been planning this out for a while now because, come on. So it was hard to make out exactly what he was saying because he was all like, but I did hear mention of his wife and Tenley, his baby, and his daughter's college fund and blah, 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 blah. But it'll be interesting to see if he reveals that he's a cop. He's part of Cops R Us. Will he say that in his final two speech, or is he going to save it until everything is all over, the votes are in? I don't know. We'll find out. But it looks like Caleb Holmes is back again. He's starting to put some pieces together. He was talking to Cody last night, and he was like, I don't understand why Victoria seems so happy when she's going home. And then he was like, especially since she's, like, fighting with Derek, so she can't talk to him and have him, you know, lift up her spirits and be like, you're staying, because they're supposed to be fighting. So Cody's like, oh, don't worry about it. Victoria goes in the diary room, and they, like, pump her up or whatever, like, she's out of here. So Caleb is still a little suspicious about it, so he goes back into creep mode cowboy, and he goes up to his favorite spot, the HOH balcony, to try and creep on Derek and Victoria. So Victoria thinks that they're all alone now. So she starts whispering something to Derek. She's like, hey, Derek, hey, Derek. And he immediately jumps up from the couch in the living room. He's like, gotta go. And he friggin' like walks away from her. Beast mode or creep mode, he knows your MO. So obviously, Derek knew that Caleb was listening from the balcony, and he was not gonna let that little whisper session ruin everything he's built up. So Derek runs upstairs to the HOH to talk to Caleb. Of course, he wants to know his take on the situation. So Caleb is like laughing because he thinks that that was Victoria trying to campaign to Derek to stay, and Derek like dissed her by walking away, so he thinks it's hilarious. You're not gonna be laughing tonight. So Derek's like, yeah, I'm not gonna have Victoria start kissing my ass now after what she's done, blah, blah, blah. So again, Caleb thinks it's hilarious. So he runs to Cody and tells him about the whole Whispergate. What an idiot! He actually thinks that this was an attempt by Victoria to campaign, and Derek just dissed her hardcore. He's like, it was so funny. He does this like maniacal laughter. Gosh. Alright, so let's have an Oh Cody moment. This has nothing to do with the game, but it was too good not to share. So Cody was holding a bag of Skittles in the kitchen. Is this season like sponsored by Skittles or what? But he was holding this bag and he was like, Big Brother's giving us Skittles that expired in 2004? They're 10 years old? So then they're like, no way, they can't be. So I think it was like Victoria and Derek who go over to look at the bag. The bag says 04 July 15. So that means the 4th of July in 2015. Cody, Genius Cody, interpreted that as 2004, July 15th. Because yes, they would give you 10-year-old Skittles. But anyway, Big Brother got in on the fun. They were like, Cody, you're the reason we can't have nice things. I love when they pull that one out. So that's just something fun for you guys. So Victoria and Derek were having a little chat up in the HOH room last night. And he was telling Victoria, I think you're good for this week. I think you're going to be safe, but I don't know for sure. So, of course, Derek is BSing Victoria right now because he knows that Cody is voting out Caleb. He said it so many times, like he could not be any clearer. But he's like, oh yeah, Cody's being really tight-lipped about it. So I'm assuming that Derek is doing this because he doesn't want Victoria to act like she's safe. He doesn't want Caleb to pick up on that and be like, why is she so comfortable? Like, he already is sensing that a little bit, so he doesn't want to stir that pot anymore. So Derek also tells Victoria, you can stop pretending that you hate me now because it's not going to matter at this point if anyone thinks we're working together, like, it's all good. You can stop. So she's just like, okay, Derek. But she's still going to act like she wouldn't bring him to the final two because she wants to surprise everyone if she wins the final HOH and brings Derek along. That's not the surprise. The surprise is going to be that you won the final HOH. So Victoria was called to the diary room, and when she leaves the room, Derek turns to the camera and says like, oh, this is ridiculous how much I have to coach her. Has it ever been like this before? That was your choice when you decided to drag her along through the whole game. So that's pretty much all the important stuff that happened last night. Victoria was talking to Derek about her hair extensions. He was one of the few that got to see her without them in. She's like, feel it. And he was like, oh yeah, you have a lot of hair. So that happened. And this morning, Cody and Derek were talking about what they're going to say to Caleb because they still haven't told him yet. He doesn't know that he's going. So they're thinking they're going to have to tell him the same sort of things that they told Frankie. It's just a numbers thing at this point. You know, Derek is already a lock for Final 3. Cody's a lock now that he won the POV. So that third spot is up for grabs, and they're going to have a much better chance of making it to the Final 2 if they take Victoria as opposed to Caleb. So that's what they're thinking they want to tell him. But it sounds like Big Brother may be encouraging them to blindside Caleb. Cody was talking about how they had one of the head producers like in the diary room this morning or something to talk to them, and how it was like a really big effing deal. So, I don't know. It sounds like they also told the house guests that they weren't really happy with them warning Frankie beforehand that he was going home. So they want a reaction. They want Caleb to freak out. And I think if they do blindside him, he's gonna be pissed. So it's kind of interesting that they're pushing for a blindside, and it'll be interesting to see if they actually go through with it. So the eviction is tonight. Caleb is going unless something insane happens, and I don't know, are they going to warn him or what? But we should also see the beginning of part 1 of the final HOH competition. I'm assuming it's going to be endurance. It usually is. So once they finish, I will post the results in the bottom of the info for this spoiler. My head is hurting. So that's all I have for you guys today, and until tomorrow, much love.